I am now going to bring in one of the most precious people in my life and in our Living Abundance Mastermind space, Eden Croft. Come on down. Welcome and good morning to you.
Good morning, Lara. Good morning, everyone on the call. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you for getting up extra early to talk to us. I really appreciate it. Eden's in Arizona, has a mom of 2 kids, and she is our head coach in the Living Abundance Mastermind. She's been holding space for our clients for goodness, a while now, but she's also been a client within the Living Abundance Mastermind. So she first came in as a client and went through a few rounds of the mastermind actually, and had some amazing results, stopped leaking her energy, upping her pricing, landing new high-end clients, and amazing shifts, amazing results, deep, powerful healing work. And now she's holding space for our clients, one of our coaches. We have other coaches as well. And Eden's offered to come in early to talk about what it's like the coaching side of the Living Abundance Mastermind and the container of the Living Abundance Mastermind, because she's got some incredible insight because she sees it from a different place that I see it. And she's in it from a slightly different angle from the client's point of view. So welcome and thank you, darling.
Thank you so much.
So let's dive in. Tell us, we were going to start with talking about, the Living Abundance ecosystem we were starting. Or what place would you like to start from in terms of sharing the coaching and the mastermind in your experience?
I think the ecosystem is actually a great place to start. And I just want to apologize ahead of time to everyone for my lighting. I know I look like I'm in heaven. I just can't get it right. My Logitech is doing weird things and it's blurring my face. I usually use just the window for lighting, but it's dark outside still. So I have to fiddle around with these lights. So just pardon my lack of technical expertise and just, maybe listen to my voice, close your eyes so I'm not blinding you. So the ecosystem, there are several layers of the Living Abundance ecosystem, and it's interesting how it's kind of, it's always been there, but I've only just now started to see it, let's just say. And so the way I see it is it has multiple aspects to it. The first aspect, which might be the most important aspect, is the frequency. It's an energetic frequency, and it is really wide and vast. It can hold the highest highs and the lowest lows. It's intelligent. It is loving. It is safe, and it is probably the draw that brought many of you to the mastermind, or if you've been following Lara for a while, if you've been doing her activations, that is that safety and that beauty that you feel in those activations. So understanding that as a frequency, and so I allow that to lead anytime that I'm in a coaching role. I allow that intelligence to lead, to hold, and it makes my job very easy because that intelligence is always in the room with us, right? That frequency is always in the room holding us. I have a few notes here, so I'm going to look off to the side sometimes. It's also a network. So if you're thinking of an ecosystem and you think of it as a forest, and each one of us that are saying yes to being in this space, that are giving our consent to be in this space, we're seeding into this space, right? And we become our own individual trees in this space, our own independent trees, but we're also in a forest together and we're connecting through our roots to each other. We're networking with each other. I have seen the most amazing friendships develop in this space between people. I have 2 to 3 people that will be lifelong friends, soul sisters that have emerged from this space for me. I have seen business relationships and business alliances form from this space, you know, collaborations. I've seen people, I've bought books from people, I've bought sessions from people in the space. Um, and I never expected to be a coach when I started this journey, but here I am. So I'm actually being paid by the space. So just kind of understanding that it's a network in which we're building a kind of a world that we wish to see together. Um, and it's also a food forest where we're receiving fruits from the space, right? There's abundance already here in the space for us, um, should we choose to receive it. So, yeah, just understanding that, um, Lara has channeled something really beautiful and really pure. Um, and and understanding it as something that's apart from Lara herself, but Lara is also guiding and steering that ship. She's the custodian of this ecosystem, but also understanding it as something that is intelligent, that has come from all of life to support all of life. So that's the way I've come to see it or experience it.
So gorgeous. I love, for me, it's always the trees that are the teachers. So I love that. What would you say, the value of the one-to-one calls are? Because what was really interesting is in my review calls with clients, they're always saying the one-to-one coaching in the mastermind is one of the most valuable things. So what would you say that people get from the coaching? Because we do coaching maybe in a different way to traditional coaching. What would you say the value is, or what happens in the calls? How that supports the clients? Because I think it's a little bit different to traditional coaching.
Yes, it is. Um, it really is more of a space holding. So if we refer back to that frequency, that divine intelligence, um, it's an opportunity to sit in that intelligence, for the time allotted each month and really sort of process your living abundance journey. As the space, when I first started in the mastermind, the calls were small enough that everyone who wanted to speak could speak for as long as they needed to, right? And now that it's grown, um, we don't always get a chance to speak in the live calls, even though whoever is in the wealth seat, that benefits everyone. Everyone gets something from that conversation. But I think it's really important for people who are maybe a little bit shy or I there has to be a place where you use your own voice out loud to say things, right? I think that is a powerful activation in itself. There has to be a space where you're held by someone who's seeing you in your highest light, who's seeing you in no matter how broken you're feeling, no matter how hard what you're going through, they're seeing you in your most expanded place. You need to be in a place where you feel safe and you won't be attacked or judged or have people feel jealous or that kind of stuff, because that can really shut you down. So I think that having that experience where you're really held and seen, um, regardless of how big the mastermind is really pivotal. And it also is a way of calling you back home to yourself, calling you back to the work, calling you back to being accountable to your vision, and a place where you can really sort of land in, ground, and say, okay, what am I choosing? What is life asking me to become? What is the next practical, tangible step to meet, who it is I'm being invited to become in order to have the thing that I've never had before.
So beautiful. And you do it seamlessly, my darling. But what I know, just to say, like, what I know about Eden and this work is just how deep the roots go, right? The root system, and how deep you've had to go to be able to really tap into that root system that is part of nature, and then we hold you in that. Can you share some of the, we have a couple things we've noticed, right, about kind of like the rising up and then the dropping in. Would you be able to talk about the kind of almost like the two processes, the two main processes that clients go through with this money manifestation mastery process from what you've witnessed?
Certainly. So what I've observed is people usually come in from either the roots or from the canopy, right? Um, but they're both going through the same process. It just starts in different places. So for some people, they're coming in from a place of feeling um, like they're really ready to heal the wounded parts of themselves, so they're really coming to reclaim the parts of themselves they've abandoned. They're really sort of come in intentionally knowing that they need to heal some things and lay that emotional groundwork, that strong foundation that they can build their wealth upon, right? So it really kind of feels like coming in from the bottom and just kind of rising up is what it feels like energetically and even looks like. And then for other people, there may be like very highly accomplished, sort of more driven. Maybe they're entrepreneurs who already have their structures in place and they've got a strong funnel and, all their ducks in a row and so forth. And for them, often it becomes about dropping into relaxation because they're either not making enough money from where they are, or um, they don't feel joy or fulfillment, or it feels as if they're being driven by something that's outside of themselves, that's external, almost kind of like from a wounded place that is coming from. So their journey becomes about relaxing enough and dropping down and kind of maybe embracing more of that divine intelligence and allowing that to lead them, um, and finding it out what it is they truly want to do or how they truly want to be in their business. And then once they feel safe enough to do that, all the rising up stuff comes up, right? Then they feel safe enough to look at the wounding that prompted them to create that highly driven perfectionistic business that wasn't really coming from their soul, and that they can now recreate. They don't have to abandon their business, but they reinfuse their business. They kind of guide their business, transform their business in a way that feels really rich and fulfilling to them.
It's like an
on
up
all levels. Yes.
Amazing, amazing, so beautiful. So the rising up, like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and there's the deepening the roots down, and there we meet. It's sort of both. It's happening on both ends, isn't it? But
Yes.
it's where it's our end, where we come in from our entry point. You may not know coming in which way you're coming in from, but we're here to support you with what's happening. Because again, our brain can get quite distressed when we're being asked to let something go. We think, oh, what's going to happen if I relax, or it's, oh, what's going to happen if I rise and use my voice and be more visible, so it's like both things are happening at the same time, but your entry point depends on where you are currently. So thank you so much. And what have you noticed, like what are the people in the mastermind doing? Everyone gets results pretty much in this mastermind because we have a very high show up rate. It's not a program where people just invest and don't really use it. We have quite a high show up rate, which is really amazing. But what have you noticed from the clients that really get the greatest results? Like basically, how do you excel in this space? What does the client need to do that you've noticed?
I've noticed that the most important things are definitely the degree to which you show up, and not just show up as, butts and seats, as we say here in the States, but it's not enough to just like here, I'm showing up, like I'm here, but am I really bringing my full presence to it? Am I really bringing my full intention to it? do I really sort of lean in and allow that divine intelligence to guide me on every pod call, on every coaching call, on every live call, when I do my assignments? It's like, am I, what am I really doing? How am I immersing myself in the work and really saying yes to this experience and to this year-long journey with my whole body, with my whole soul, right? So the degree to which you really give your energy to it is the degree to which it gives back to you. I also find that even though the way the mastermind is structured and how you lead it so seamlessly and beautifully, and all the tools that are there, it helps to be a person who is steeped in self-development work already. So people who have like a medicine bag, I like to call it, like, what's in your medicine bag? Some people have done shamanic journeying. Some people have all kinds of philosophical leanings, spiritual leanings, maybe yoga as a deep life practice. They've done years of therapy, whatever it is, that's your bag, that's in your bag, right? That really kind of helps you. Like, all those tools will help you navigate your triggers. And there's a degree to which you have to know how to hold yourself and have the discernment to call in extra support when you need it, because this is not a therapy space. So if triggers come up and you feel like, oh my God, I think I'm going to need therapy for this, then do that, and this work works beautifully alongside any modality of healing and self-development that you choose. So I find that having a medicine bag and really leaning in are the two things that I find really help people excel.
Beautiful. Yeah. And it's like it's like any relationship, really, isn't it? It's kind of obvious, but what happens is this money blocks stop us from showing up. I mean, we're sort of half in, or we're just peeping in, or we're like this. But actually, whatever we commit our energy to or give our energy to, we are going to grow, right? It can't not grow you. So, and we show up, right, when we're feeling great and when we're feeling like crap, when we're feeling on fire and when we're feeling at the bottom of the barrel, when we're in the money pit, when we're celebrating. And I think this is what we do really beautifully in this space, is we show up vulnerably. Like, we are friggin' powerful. We're here to make waves. We are creating very impactful change, and we hold a space for vulnerability, for our weaknesses, for our trauma, right? We're modeling the integrated wealth, which includes feelings. It includes all of it, right? Which actually grows the roots. You have to be able to hold yourself if you're going to create integrated wealth. This is a kind of a new way of doing money. It's like the new financial system, right? That's not a severed financial system. We have to start with you, right? And that can feel a bit painful. We're like starting to grow our roots. Ouch! But actually, it's what wants to happen. So, is there anything else you feel would be worth sharing from your beautiful, wise, soulful roots, Eden? Anything else that you think would be worth sharing about the coaching, the mastermind living abundance ecosystem, how this work works?
I think that I'd love to share that, sometimes that the riches you get are not the ones that you expect. Like, everyone is going to get the abundance, the money, the obvious things. If they don't get it in their first year, they've laid those foundations in their first year, and then they can start to build upon it in subsequent years. For some people, it arrives in their first 6 months. Sometimes everyone's journey is different. So not to go into journey comparison necessarily, is a good awareness to come in with. It's kind of like if you've ever received an energy healing, sometimes you go in because you're like, oh my God, my shoulder, my shoulder. And then next thing you know, it's like something completely different that gets sorted out. But eventually that does heal your shoulder. But the intelligence is so divine, it goes to where it's needed the most. And so what I've observed in my own life and with clients is that there are multiple arenas in which this work can really take hold. Money is the most obvious one, you know, because when we start working on money, we start really dealing with a lot of core issues. So it activates that journey for you. But relationships is another one. I call it intimacy. It really is more about intimacy than is about relationships, whether it's intimacy with your children, with your life partner, your family of origin, sometimes with clients. That becomes something that becomes a focus, because when you start bringing this in, it's like putting a drop of tea in water. Like the tea is going to go everywhere. It's not going to just stay in the spot that you dropped it in, you know? So obviously it's going to affect how you show up in your relationships in the best way possible. You know, the sex can be another arena where this shows up. Obviously, that's not going to be the case for every single person because we're not all in sexual relationships, but that, you know, is also an area of self-growth. Visibility. Visibility is a huge one, especially for entrepreneurs, you know. All of our visibility blocks are really primal most of the time. And so once you start addressing that, it's going to bring up some things, and it's really asking you to rise into the next level of yourself. And I find that the frequency of the mastermind is really masterful in helping you navigate that in a way that's supportive, sometimes feels challenging, but always feels good in the end once you've gone through that journey. So just kind of being aware and also understanding that a lot of times you'll get your goals that you're envisioning, but it's really like finding peace with yourself, learning to deeply trust yourself, learning to not abandon yourself, right? You know, these are all like gains. And they're part of that wealth frequency that don't have a dollar. You can't put a dollar amount on learning to trust yourself.
Yeah.
On having peace in your life. You know, how much is that worth? It's worth everything. You'll say no to money for that, to keep that.
I think that's it. I think you just hit the nail on the head, really. And that is the feedback. Like, our clients manifest money, they do. But the feedback is that is not where the greatest value lies in this program. Obviously, that's like the selling point, because that's what we want, or that's sort of like the motivator.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much deeper and richer, isn't it? We include money, but it's like, it's an intimacy, connection. It's what we really long for, is that coming home to ourselves, to each other, to life. I really think that that is living abundance, but we don't abandon any part of life. We receive it all and alchemize the shit and turn it to gold. That's what we do. We're masterful at that. And understanding is sort of, I think what you hold such gorgeous space for is that allowing the dying off, you know, allowing that space for putting it, like the grieving process of like, this is what we're letting go of. Because when we put something in the ground, the earth knows how to alchemize it, turn it into rich, right? Nutrition rich soil that grows new, right? So we bring it down and we rise it up. And you hold such a gorgeous space. All our coaches do. I bring in coaches that have a very deep root system. That's one of their gifts, is like very, very rooted and grounded and very, very connected on a soul level, because that's what we do in the coaching. And you are just such an incredible, incredible, valuable part of this team and this ecosystem. And Eden's been such a huge part of my healing journey too, because, you know, you're just quietly present for a long time and just doing the work and showing up and doing the work. And I was still probably, when we met, still in my, like, a bit like I'm alone in the universe, like trying to bring this stuff in. And when I was guided to, and I was like, I have to give, and it's like over responsibility, and it's all on my shoulders, and like, how do I grow this while also giving everything to everyone? And my guidance said, you need a team. You need to pull back and stop doing all the one-to-one coaching and bring in coaches. I'm like, but, you know, I had this real inner fight with my guidance, right? Thinking, but the clients will be angry and upset, and they're signing up for me, and da, 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 da. And then I was guided to ask you to be a coach, and you said yes. I was like, oh, amazing. And then we started this process, and now what's amazing, it's like, oh, it's not me, right? I'm part of it. It's a we. And this is the thing with growing a business. When I was like, and it's sort of obvious when you think on a structural level, if you're going to grow a business, you need team, you need infrastructure, you need support systems. But I was so in my wound and I'm alone in the world, I didn't really get it. And Eden came in and started becoming one of those pillars, but we're all these trees. We're all part of the ecosystem. We're all holding each other, and we're all of equal value.
Mhm.
There isn't a hierarchy. We're just all playing different roles within that ecosystem, and clients are part of that ecosystem too. And this is the thing, I think the space gets you out of that hierarchical thinking, right? Inferiority, superiority, like better, worse, us, them, you know, that kind of polarization into like, hey, this is a team, this is teamwork. What do you feel about that, what I'm just saying there?
Absolutely, you know. And as a coach, I lean on Carly, and Carly leans on me, you know. And we lean on you, and it's like it's more circular,
Yeah.
right? We support each other in this, and then, you know, the clients support each other, we support the clients, you know, and the work that they do also supports us, you know, energetically. It's like there's no high like going into a coaching call and seeing someone in their magnificence. It's like watching, I get to see meteor showers every day, is what I feel like just from being in the coaching calls. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, you know, where you sit as a coach in the mastermind, and your point of view. You see it, you know, you have another angle, another perspective, and you're in there in the ring with our clients, through the ups and the downs and the wins and the challenges and life kicking your ass and then rising and, you know, learning how to hold amazing results. And you're there through all of it. And I know that is essential piece to be able to do this, right? We need to be held, because that is a rare and precious thing. I don't know about you, but I find that there's not that many people in day-to-day life that can meet me on that level, right? This is a very, very special, precious space. And so I think that's it. I think you have to have just a few, even if it's just a few people who've got your back. Would you agree with that, Eden?
Yes, absolutely. Just a few people who can meet you at the depths that you need on a soul level. I think people who are attracted to this work, they're attracted to depth. You know, I don't think that you get to be superficial and then be attracted to being part of the W.E.A.L.T.H retreat. You know, it's just it's just not possible.
Yeah, you will be spat out. Like it will be a repellent energy. So beautiful. Thank you. You are absolutely gorgeous. And I really, really deeply appreciate you for holding this gorgeous space. Thank you, my darling.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. Thank you for birthing this beautiful space and taking care of it with all your heart. And yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.